Welcome to part 3 of my adventures through Eorzea. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Stormblood, the middle child of the 3 expansions. Is it another banger to be lifted up and raised to the heavens, or does it suffer from what is commonly referred to as sophomore slump? Right away, I'll tell you that my impressions of Stormblood are a mixed bag. This is a game with 3 halves and 2 faces, and what I noticed was how I felt as I played it differed greatly from how I felt once I was done. So if you're currently playing or are planning on playing it, I want you to resist that urge to pass judgment on this expansion before reaching its end. You'll feel it, I know you will, cause I certainly did. But try to silence that voice in your head because it speaks in half-truths. It only sees half the picture, and is likely to lead you astray. Now, saying that, I know that not everyone has the time or patience to get through the slows before making it to the highs, so I can understand if you tried Stormblood and dropped it partway through. And that's fine. Let no one tell you how you should spend your time. But if you're that type of person, if this sounds like you, be warned. You're probably going to have a rough time, especially coming off of Heavensward. Consider this a therapy session, because I will certainly be using it as such. Okay, preamble aside, let's talk about Stormblood. Let's get the easy stuff out of the way. Stormblood walks in step and continues much of the good work Heavensward started. Dungeons are still great. The animations and transitions you see moving from room to room, arena to arena, are top notch. Combat and gameplay mechanics continue to be engaging turn frantic. Developers are still running wild with the ways they make you dance around the battlefield. Locations are distinct, inspired, and a joy to spend time in, reminding you of what it feels like to be on vacation. The music? Yes out of yes. Once again, the boss battle theme takes my vote for best track. And it's even gotten to the point where I've started hearing the music in my dreams. This expansion gives you more of what you love. All the things you have come to expect from 14 are here. But be aware that you won't be having as many wow moments as before, as there isn't the same jump in quality and design like you saw moving from ARR to Heavensward. Set your expectations along the lines of incremental upgrade and you won't be disappointed. Now comes the difficult and possibly controversial part, the story. You start by supporting the Alamegan resistance, building it up and preparing it to fight back with the hopes of liberating the land from the Garlean Empire. You are ready for guerrilla warfare, fighting an uphill battle with a slim to none chance of victory. Brutal and harsh, like the desert and the sun-bleached rocks all around you. A bloody, grueling campaign, with mountains of losses on both sides, just like the name of the expansion implies. And then you remember seeing in the trailer that you'll be visiting the Far East. Not sure how we're gonna get over... Wait, what? We're going over there now? Just like that? Okay, we're kind of in the middle of a major operation here. Are you sure it's okay to just leave? Well, I suppose every hero deserves a vacation now and then. Ah, the quiet life. Wait, something doesn't feel quite right. Unlike Heavensward, where its elements felt like an expertly woven tapestry, Stormblood can feel scattered, frayed, and at times, slow, as people like to put it, to the point where it might knock you on your ass and out of the moment. The difference is stark and jarring. It feels like when your favorite artist or musician decides to get experimental and change their style, like when Cascade jumped from Trance to Electro House. It's different, and you're not quite sure how you feel about it. Stormblood splits its narrative into two nearly identical halves, with neither feeling like it had quite enough attention put into them. At times, it felt like I was watching someone put together a puzzle using the pieces from two separate jigsaws. We ping-ponged back and forth, bouncing between the parallel storylines without ever getting a chance to feel settled or grounded. Why? Why did they choose to take a good, potentially great story and split it into two mediocre ones? Especially when they feel so similar. On top of that, I couldn't shake this odd feeling of disconnect I had throughout my time in the MSQ. Some of it was cosmetic. So Yangsha, which is inspired by China, is the home to samurai and ninjas? Does this not feel odd to anyone else? And where the hell are all the other villages and people? We are trying to liberate a nation here. How many people live in this country? Because I've only seen like 40 tops. While others were more structural, like how the pacing and feel of the first half didn't seem to align with the stakes and gravity that was set up at the beginning. Does this game want to be a chill study abroad vacation? Or a desperate against the odds war story? There were times when I was in disbelief. Not the, oh my god, I can't believe that just happened type. But the, I don't know if I honestly believe this could happen type. And times where key moments rang hollow and felt strangely unsatisfying. It's as if we skipped some steps or are missing some crucial piece. A show don't tell moment where we could see or get a feel for the actual scale and consequences of events, versus what the game engine is limited to showing us. Because without it, it doesn't really feel like we've done enough to turn the tide, or that our labors were worth it. I'm sure it sounds like I had a mountain of issues and am firmly in the red. Complaints aside, I actually like a lot of the pieces. Individually. The characters, their arcs, villains and factions, the locations, and the story beats that happen in them were all really enjoyable for me. It's only when you take a step back and look at them all together that it feels a bit shaky, almost a bit much. I guess it works, kinda, if you cross your eyes a bit. It just lacks that feeling of being a cohesive whole, if you know what I mean. Now, here's the turning point. Reflecting on all of this having finished the expansion, I understand why it feels this way. Why it was, I'm guessing, designed to feel this way. I can see the beginnings of what's starting to form. Stormblood is a setup chapter, where the seeds of future stars are being planted. Yes, we would love for every story arc to be bananas level amazing, to slap so hard it leaves a handprint on your heart. But that level of storytelling doesn't just apparate out of thin air. It's the culmination of a lot of groundwork, a lot of seeding, slow building, open threads, and unanswered questions left from before. These slow phases are necessary in order to deliver that amazing payoff we all love, where those seemingly random and disparate points converge to push the story to new heights and leave you ugly crying for a week. Based on the level of fanfare and love for Shadowbringers, I can only assume that that's what's going on here. So I understand when people looking backwards say, this was written and structured this way in order to build to these future events, and in hindsight, can wave off some of what bothered me in the moment. I get it. But at the same time, I don't think that invalidates the opinions and feelings that I or you might have as we play through the expansion, looking forward. Setting up what's to come does not absolve Stormblood's narrative from being weak. Does this make sense? What I'm trying to say is, I hold two impressions of this expansion. For Stormblood individually, the story could have been done better. And in context of the whole, it was written this way to set up future expansions. Both to me are valid. Both can be true at the same time, and thus the source of my mixed feelings. Okay, the hard part is done. Therapy over. I can finally talk about something else. With each expansion that's released, it feels like the team hones in on improving specific aspects of their game. In Heavensward, we saw a massive step up in dungeons, encounter design, and the main storyline, to name a few. In Stormblood, it feels like they really focused in on making some amazing side stories. You've got the range, wacky, intriguing, funny, insightful, moving, deep lore, wholesome, cute. Something for everyone, and there's still more I have yet to explore. Nearly every crafter's story was finger-lickin' good. Founding your own school? Yes, sign me up. A bizarre murder mystery with ties to 1.0? Hell yes. Becoming a friggin' taxidermist for Nat Geo? What? Come on. These were superb and have climbed the ranks to being some of my favorite moments from this game. Not expansion, game. Do you like cute animals and mythology? You're playing Final Fantasy, of course you do. The four lords have got you covered. Where else can you step back through time to see how legends came to be? And who in their right mind can say no to any questline with this little guy? My god, cuteness overload. Alpha, best boy, and no one can tell me otherwise. So yeah, the side stories were great. A shining highlight of this expansion. Highly, highly recommended. I want to close this out by talking about community. This is a part of the game that I hadn't participated in until Stormblood, which to some people, I'm sure, sounds crazy. You're playing an MMO and you've been ignoring the social aspect of it, one of the defining features of games in this genre? Yes, I was, because I only came here for the story, and I didn't really understand how community could influence my enjoyment of what feels like a single-player narrative. Not to mention I was a free trial player for 200 hours. But having joined a free company, I can now see why everyone recommends it. A whole new dimension of the game has opened up for me, and part of me wishes I had done it sooner. But I would still advise playing on the free trial for as long as possible. I don't know what it is about it or why this is the case, but I just get so much joy out of this little box here. It's just a chat log, yet seeing everyone being supportive, being helpful and friendly without sarcasm or vitriol, creates a feeling of home and a sense of belonging. It feels as if you're hanging out with your friends at a bar. You're in your own little world within a world. Is it because the 14 community is so friendly and accepting, or simply luck with the FC I joined? I don't know, but I often get the same vibe I got from early Fairy Tail. A motley crew of misfits who come together to form a family. We ask questions, give advice, and share in each other's achievements and successes. We have socials, organize content runs, and a corner full of specialists ready to assist with any and all of your in-game wants and needs. Crafting, house hunting, maps, hunt trains, you name it, all free of charge. There's always someone ready to give a helping hand, run you through a dungeon, or point you in the right direction. Being a part of this FC fills me with a sense of pride, which I'm reminded of whenever I run into someone with the same tag. It feels like I've only just scratched the surface here, as I often see callouts looking for groups to do endgame content. Seeing the names of all these things I've yet to understand or encounter is like getting a glimpse of the future. Every time they appear, I grow more eager and excited to finally catch up to everyone and join them in the endgame. If even a tiny part of you is curious about what the social aspect can bring to your experience with the game, I highly encourage you to find an FC and see for yourself. There's nothing like that feeling of camaraderie, especially in our current timeline. Well folks, there you have it. My experience with Stormblood. A mixed bag, as I said before, but still worthy of your time. While the story may have faltered a bit, all the other parts of the game, combat, the raids, the locations, and the side stories, stand strong. Like everyone says, this game is a journey, and your unique route, your unique experiences and affinities, may bring you to a different conclusion than mine. And that's great. I think that's exactly the way it should be. But regardless of which side of the fence you fall on, let's celebrate another chapter of this amazing saga of a game together. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen to me ramble about Stormblood. Now we can finally move on to the big cheese, the Black Brie, Shadowbringers. I'll see you guys next time. Later.